Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net, 3x pitch biometrics here of Jack Corbell from 3x Velocity Camp. Taking him out of his leg lift. We can see just before back leg drive or rotation here. This would be his load position. We look at hip angles here. We can see back leg internally rotated 18 degrees. So with 16 degrees of abduction, not a lot of abduction there, and you can see because of that knee is getting inside the drive leg. So, but with Jack, he has tight hips, but needs to work on getting to somewhere like 30-40 degrees of abduction. So not a lot of abduction in that hip, causing everything to go early. Keeping frontside closed though in the process is good. This pitch is at 90. He doesn't, back leg goes early, but very quick through his movement, carries energy, builds energy well, just not working with a lot of range due to mobility issues. So if we look at posterior, or how he's loading his posterior chain, his hip is 28 degrees. So his hip is leaning back hard, needs to get into his posterior chain, hinging the hip more. Not rolling the back, looks like it more rolling the back. So more posterior strength, but good flexion. I like the flexion there. As far as the lean back toward the trunk towards the target, if we look at the pelvis or trunk position, it's 28. I would say it's a little bit too much leaning back towards the target, and that will make it harder to abduct that hip because you'll hit into range of that hip quicker because you're leaning into it. So getting the trunk just chin behind belt buckle would help allow you to get more hip abduction. Let's watch Kinematics Sequencing as he drives into front foot strike. So opens, just a lot of rotation here because that hip is not abducting. But timing arm cocking to back leg internal rotation pretty well. And hits front foot here. If we spread this out, we can see everything's just peeking together. We're looking at the red line, which is pelvis peaking, and then the blue line is the glove side. So the glove side's first thing to go, which means that's probably driving a lot of rotation. And then we just see hip and trunk going together, and this is even at 90 miles an hour. So concerned are just about arm health. You're getting more arm drag here. You can see the arms laid into external rotation, which is going to be laid into internal rotation. It's going to be more torque on the elbow. Wouldn't so much here. It doesn't look like so much hyperangulation, like your arms pulling behind your back. It's just late to external rotate. That's going to be really hard on the elbow. But you can see not much separation. Hip line, shoulder line moving together. Shoulder line getting ahead even before hips open. That's not what we want. And then you can see here, late external rotation, and you're in a lot of over rotation with the trunk because of the lack of hip to shoulder separation. So if you look at the trunk rotation, front foot strike, 31 degrees to the glove side. We don't want to break 25. Once again, puts more torque. And then if we looked at trunk, the level trunk, so this is going to be an issue here too. If I look at, say, I'm going to get this drawing tool, and if this is the level trunk position, you can see elbow is under the trunk position. So not only is it late to external rotate, but it's lower than the elbow or the shoulder line, which is going to put way more stress on the elbow as well. So something we need to work with. Keeping good shoulder abduction, and more than likely, this is the problem. If you're late to externally rotate, then what's going to happen is when your arm adducts, which typically here the arm starts to drop down. If you're externally rotating the moment the arm's dropping down, then you're going to get into that valgus load below the shoulder, and that's studies linked to a lot of elbow injury. So, and then to pitch release, you see a lot of full extension of the elbow, which is another correlation to elbow injury because the trunk really isn't moving forward; it's just spinning around. And that's mainly because you didn't separate well, not a lot of drive. So I'm concerned about the elbow health. And like the keys to that's going to be getting the hips to abduct more so you can drive later, separate more, and you won't pull your glove side. You can see you're pulling your glove side so hard, it's making all that go off so late. And that's the problem. We can't pull the glove side. We have to drive through back hip We have to separate, and then the glove side should move with the trunk. The arm should early externally rotate, and trunk should move forward as opposed to keep spinning off. So just working on that hip mobility to really try to open it up, allow that leg to drive later and separate is going to be the key.